Today's episode of the Shameless Picture Show is sponsored by Vinegar Syndrome. Check them out online at www.vinegarsyndrome.com. Vinegar Syndrome is one of the most interesting DVD and Blu-ray labels around because of their extensive catalog of horror, cult, exploitation, and vintage sexploitation films. Unlike most companies, Vinegar Syndrome is also a restoration company with their own in-house lab, where they've done new restorations for companies such as Arrow, Massacre Video, and Draft House Films. Check out Vinegar Syndrome today and grab your copy of Dolomite, Sugar Cookies, Jack Frost, Psycho Cop Returns, Malibu High, or Nurse Sherry. While I'm a little more knowledgeable than my co-host, I can assure you that I love Vinegar Syndrome. Whenever I'm at a convention, their table is one of the first I hit, and much to my wife's chagrin, I spend way too much time going over every single title. I own more than just a few. So once again, head over to www.vinegarsyndrome.com and grab yourself something cool. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shameless Picture Show podcast. I am Michael Viers, and I am alone today. So you know what that means? It is time for another moment with Michael. I really should get like a jingle or something that goes there. I really don't know. Me and Nick have always believed in full transparency when it comes to this show, and I know we are hyping up our Dark City episode, and that will still happen more than likely next episode. As I was saying, full transparency, sometimes life gets in the way. Me and Nick record this show, I don't want to say very early, but we record the show early in the mornings, usually on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, because that's when it works best. I work retail, so my schedule is all over the place, and Nick is the manager? Probably, I think that's the best way to put it. Manager for a public access station. So he does most of the recording while at work. And because of this, sometimes we'll have it planned that, as soon as he comes into work, he's going to set up the camera so he can record the Shameless Picture Show podcast picture show for YouTube and for Maryland Public Access. But then sometimes it'll just happen where, I'll be making my coffee in the morning and he'll message me and it's like, I'm sorry, work came up, and his job's always going to come first. It's just how it is. Luckily, through our amazing partnership with Vinegar Syndrome Video, I had some things I wanted to talk about. I was originally going to save this just for a bonus episode, and I'm going to apologize now. This is not going to be one of our longest. It's not going to be one of our most in-depth. Me and Nick do our best work when we're bouncing off each other. It's just how it is. But, I thought this is a good chance to work with our friends over Vinegar Syndrome and talk about a couple of their releases. They had a sale a couple months ago, so I bought a bunch of stuff that I haven't watched all of it yet. Plus, they sent me a pre-order copy of one of their new films that's coming out called Psychos in Love. So I thought I would talk about two different films. I thought I would start off with one called EVILS of the Night that I bought from them during their last sale, and then Psychos in Love. So, like I said, full transparency, that's kind of what we're doing today, and why you just get to listen to me talk. I'm hoping this lasts a little bit. It's always nerve-wracking whenever I have to do this by myself, because I'm always afraid, oh man, am I going to have enough to talk about? I'm like, I don't know, I feel like 15 minutes is too short. Half hours around perfect for when you're by yourself, but I don't know. I was originally going to see if my wife Amanda would come on with me, but she had to work today. And then for those of you who remember my previous podcast, the No Homers podcast, where me and Nico Aldrich talked about The Simpsons, we had thought about doing a one night only, or whenever we feel like it, reunion episode of The Simpsons, because occasionally it's nice to have content for when Nick is busy or I'm busy. We were going to come on and we were going to talk about The Simpsons, of course, a little bit, but just Nico doesn't get to talk about horror a whole lot, and I love talking about horror, so we were going to talk about that. But here we are, by myself. What are you going to do? It's part of the game. So first off, this is, like I said, this is going to be kind of a disc review episode where I'm talking about Vinegar Syndrome. And another full transparency, I love this company, Vinegar Syndrome. It's the reason I approached them about becoming a sponsor, because I really liked what they were doing. They have been doing great things for some of the films they've released. I have been a huge fan of theirs ever since they put out Christmas Evil, which I still think every one of you should go out there and buy. But just because they're a sponsor, and just because I love their company and will forever sing their praise, does not mean I'm going to necessarily love everything they put out. I'm a firm believer that not everything is for everyone. And I'm going to say it right now, just because I didn't love one of these films doesn't mean someone else out there might not. Let me rephrase that. Someone out there is going to like this film. But anyways, let's start with EVILS of the Night. The tagline says, alien vampires in search of teenage blood, all in caps. And what struck me and Amanda when we decided to buy this film was there's a half-naked woman being pulled down by skeletons and half-skinned hands. There's two bodies being drained of all their blood hanging upside down. And then, for whatever reason, the Millennium Falcon is just right on the cover. It's kind of awesome. Well, the cover is kind of awesome. Anyways. It's geriatric aliens versus sex-obsessed teens in Marty Russman's outrageous EVILS of the Night. Beautiful young women have been disappearing, and no one can figure out how or where they go. But in the darkness, sinister forces are working. A group of aliens, played by John Carradine, Tina Louise, and Julie Newmar, have been draining the local youth of their blood so that they can live forever. Filled with ample nudity, moments of splattery gore, and a supporting cast including Amber Wynn and Aldo Ray, EVILS of the Night is quintessential 80s sleaze unlike anything else. Freshly restored in 2K from its original 35mm negative, Vinegar Syndrome brings EVILS of the Night to Blu-ray for the first time.
My boob! What's the matter with this pair, Buster?
No. Oh, no.
What was that?
I don't know.
Was to survive for hundreds of years, beyond the normal lifespan.
Think, Cora. Without these platelets, your bones eventually grow fragile and break. You'd be dead within 100 years. But with...
Oh. I'm just gonna say it right now. I did not love EVILS of the Night. Me and Amanda, we put it on one night because we wanted something to watch that we were hoping would just be fun, even if it wasn't necessarily like a funny movie, just because it was, goofy and, you know, and well, I'm not gonna lie, I had fun watching Evils of the Night. There are some things I definitely did enjoy about it. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a great film. Um, I need to get this out the way right away. There on the disc there is like a uncompleted trailer for the film, which shows like its VHS footage and whatnot and how the film originally looked. And that trailer looks like garbage. This film, while not, spectacular shot or anything, does not look like garbage. This film is wonderfully restored, where there's times where I'm watching it and I'm like, oh man, if this movie would just move a little better and had a little better pacing, I'd probably really enjoy it, because it's so weird. Like, I was poking around on the internet, and there's not a lot of information about this film, but I just peeped out Wikipedia real quick, and of course the reviews were negative, but this amused me. A reviewer at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution wrote, "Evils of the Night is an attempt to introduce an appalling new genre. The teen sex comedy, slice and dice thriller Martians Have Landed combo." And that perfectly describes this film. Because yes, it's part alien Martians Have Landed film with the older regime playing these aliens, as I said, John Carradine, who honestly at this point it was not hard to get John Carradine in a movie. And I feel like people forget how good of an actor John Carradine was because he was in so much crud. Tina Louise, who I'm not super familiar with, and then Julie Newmar from Batman. She played Catwoman. They've all kind of got like this, like the goofy Plan 9 from outer space look to their outfits, and they're all really rigid and stiff, and they're trying to drain the blood of the youth to stay alive forever. So one thing I did appreciate about them is the fact that, like, exterior not included, because the exterior of the hospital looked really weird, and I did not buy it was a hospital, and if it actually was a hospital, impressive, because to me it looked like a motel. The interiors of the hospital actually were shot at a hospital. It had real stuff there. They had real equipment and real hospital beds, and like, I think the last film I talked about for Vinegar Syndrome was Nurse Sherry. Nurse Sherry had the worst hospital interiors I've ever seen in a movie. It looked like someone's apartment they just painted white, and they just kept using the same room and corridor for every single set. All things considered, I thought Nurse Sherry had a nice charm to it, and at times it was really well shot. But like, I was surprised by how well like the sets Evils of the Night looked, and they had some fun with their colored lighting. And then there's the sex comedy aspect of it, where it's just a bunch of men and women who are more than happy to get naked. I looked it up, and it turns out some of these young actors are actually porn stars. So, if you need nudity, I've heard from many low-budget exploitation genre filmmakers, porn stars and strippers are the best way to achieve that, because they're very comfortable with their body, and some of them can actually act. Like, I was talking to my wife the other day about this, about the golden era of porn. That's a hard thing to explain to people who don't understand the history of film or porn. They go hand in hand. Like, pretty much as soon as Thomas Edison invented a way to shoot film and put it on a screen, someone was trying to find a way to get naked ladies, like, on screen right afterwards. They go hand in hand, and they have a really interesting parallel to each other. And back in the 70s and 80s, a lot of these pornographers were trying to make decent films that just had, hardcore sex. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think a good example of a film to watch that kind of shows the mindset for this time period is Boogie Nights. Go back and watch Boogie Nights, and you'll get an idea of what these pornographers are trying to do. So, like I said, of course, occasionally you get some actors that aren't too bad. The acting's a little funny in this movie. I don't know if it's necessarily choices or if it's direction. There's an interview on the disc of Marty Rustman, and it looks like English might not be his first language, but you know, it's a choice being made, but it looked like everyone was having a lot of fun making this film. So yeah, there's the teen sex comedy aspect where it's just a bunch of kids hanging out at a beach, a lake. I don't know. It kind of looks like the exterior scenes for Piranha 3D, like in a cavernous area with a beach and whatnot. It looked like it was probably shot somewhere in California. Just, it's kind of like a bad ripoff of Porky's, where like they're all hanging out and having fun and making fun of each other. The music is really cool. Like, I actually have to say that. Like, I was really legitimately impressed by the music. Like, I don't know how often I'm going to watch EVILS of the Night, but I would listen to the score. And then looking up who did it was Robert O'Ragland, who has done scores for a lot of popular movies and movies I've seen. Like, I'm just going to run you through some of the titles. I just pulled up his name right now on Letterboxd. And in order of popularity, he did Q, the Winged Serpent, which I have not talked about on this show, but eventually I'm going to get Nick to watch because I absolutely love Q, the Winged Serpent. It was on my shame list as of a year or two ago, and I fell in love with it, so much so that I actually wrote... I try to write a discoveries list every year of my, the films I discovered. To me, I make a list every year, so I try to write something of the films I've discovered. To me, discoveries are more important to me than my favorite films of the year. This is going to make me sound like a pretentious hipster douchebag, and I apologize. I don't care about a lot of the films that come out nowadays. I go see a lot of them, and there's quite a few of them I enjoy, but making a list of them isn't a lot of fun for me. I've done it, and I usually do it if there's one or two obscure choices that I feel like people haven't seen, and then that will elevate me. It's like, okay, I'll make a list of 5 to 10 that I think are great, just so I can write about these one or two weird ones. Usually if I've seen an indie film I really like, or if I really liked a film that most people hated. Like, I wrote the year that It Follows came out, I had to write a list just so I can tell people how amazing I thought It Follows was. And the same thing the year The Guest came out, I thought the film was amazing, people needed to see it, so I made a list. But anyways, I'm rambling. I had to make a list of my favorite discoveries, and last year, Brian Sauer over at Rupert Pumpkin Speaks. If you haven't been to Rupert Pumpkin Speaks, it's a great film blog. Every year he handpicks people to write a little blurb about their favorite discoveries of the year, and he was good enough to let me do it, and I wrote about Q, the Winged Serpent, because I think it's such a unique and interesting film by Larry Cohen. I think I might have also written about God Told Me To, which is another Larry Cohen film. Larry Cohen is a low-budget genre exploitation filmmaker that just gets it all right, because his writing is really fucking solid. So, enough about Larry Cohen. He did, Robert O'Ragland did, like I said, the score for Q, the Winged Serpent. Charles Bronson film 10 to Midnight. He did Grizzly. If you haven't seen Grizzly, go see Grizzly. It's if you mix Jaws and a slasher film, and add a bear, that's Grizzly. He did the Black Exorcist ripoff film called Abby. Bronson film Messenger of Death. Another Bronson film, Assassinator. He has done a movie with Ross Hagen called The Glove. He's done a lot. He's a great composer. And once I saw the kind of power they had behind this, it's like, oh man, this music's great. So much so that one of the best features on this film is the fact that they've got isolated film score. Like, I'll probably end up watching this movie a little more often, like while I'm doing dishes or whatnot, and just putting the isolated film score on because it's awesome. So, anyways, you've got these teenagers kind of running, like, getting isolated from their pack, having sex, and usually getting murdered, as is usually what happens on a slasher film. Then you've got the slasher aspect of it. You've got famous actor Aldo Ray, who is, another one of those genre film stars. He's an actor I know quite a bit about, but I haven't seen a lot of his work. But to give you an idea of like his popularity with genre film, Quentin Tarantino made reference to him in Inglourious Bastards by naming a character with a very similar name. Actually, I think it might be exact same name, Aldo Ray. Yeah, Brad Pitt's character is named after this guy. That's how much he likes him. So that's kind of cool. And then Neville Brand, best known for, well, maybe not best known, but my favorite of his films, Eaten Alive, directed by Tobe Hooper, who is unfortunately no longer with us. He's done a lot of other things, just not a whole lot that I've seen, which, again, is more on me than anything else. And they play these two fucking mechanics that are working for these aliens who come down every so often. I want to say it's like maybe 7 or 10 years. That drain teenagers, and these mechanics just help find these teenagers and, you know, bring them to the draining hospital and help them out with that. Sorry, I'm just rambling now at this point. Like I said, I didn't love Evils of the Night. Maybe it's one of those movies that I feel like if I were to play in a theater with some people, or maybe invite people over, it's a film I'd have a lot of fun with. It's not super great by yourself, but I feel like with the right people. But these films actually might be a really amusing double feature. Start with this one and then go to Psychos in Love, which I don't understand how anyone could dislike that film. But and just to go off of like how pretty this film is, it was shot on 35 millimeter. Like, unless you really don't know what you're doing, a 2K scan of a 35 millimeter film is usually going to look pretty darn good. I'm really looking forward to the Night of the Living Dead restoration that's coming up, because I always thought that film was shot in 16 millimeter. It's shot in 35. I'm looking forward to seeing that film in widescreen for once. Not a lot on here. They've got it's called Alien Blood Transfusion. It's a video interview of director Marty Rustam. He kind of runs you through the history of this project, and he produced some other low-budget exploitation films, and he talks about kind of why he went into directing this one and his experience with filmmaking. Actually graduated, I believe, from USC. There's also an alternate feature-length TV edit of the film. I always say, I don't know if I'm going to watch this again. Alternate edits of films intrigue me. So, like, there's an alternate edit of Nurse Sherry that I want to watch. I might watch the alternate of this just because I am a glutton for punishment. We'll see. And then there's like 25 minutes of outtakes, then some TV spots, work in progress theatrical trailer, some pretty artwork. It's, it's Evils of the Night. Like I said, this is I'll even say it's fun. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad. Like, it's not great, but it's fun. It's a fun, sleazy 80s piece of magic. I guess let's put it that way. And this is the reason I love Vinegar Syndrome. No one else put this out. And I know there's people out there like, no one should put that out. No, that's a stupid way to view things. Just because a film isn't Citizen Kane doesn't mean it doesn't deserve a proper release and to show what the filmmaker intended. Because I'm a firm believer few people are out there to make a bad film. Everyone's trying to make a good film based on what they believe a good film is. And films like this are always great because you watch it and you're wondering, has this person ever even seen a movie? And I don't know. I love, personally, having the challenge of seeing things like this, because who knows? One day when physical media goes away, who knows if things like this will ever still get put out. Like, a lot of cool things came out in the DVD age, but I feel like more uniqueness came out during VHS times. Films like this could live because of VHS. And while I think this got a DVD release, for the most part, this film went unknown. And it's cool that a company like Vinegar Syndrome is putting it out in a way it needs to be seen. They also do the same thing with porn. Like, if anyone out there listening is interested in the golden era of porn, Vinegar Syndrome is your place to be. All right, moving on. to a film that I literally just saw last night, but I will go as far as to say I have a constantly growing list of my as of right now it's like 300 favorite films. I want to try to eventually get up to 5 to 1,000 favorite films, because I thought if Edgar Wright can do it, I can do it too. So I've got a list going on Mubi, and I've got it also on Letterboxd. This film's gonna go on that list. This I just saw it, and it's like, yes, this is the film that I'm gonna be thinking about for a while, and I'm gonna go back to, and I'm gonna show this film to people. I love this film. It's called Psychos in Love. Joe, played by Carmen Capobianco, runs a strip club, and Kate, played by Debbie Thibault, is an attractive young manicurist. After bonding over their mutual dislike of grapes, they discover another commonality. Both of them are bloodthirsty serial killers. As they begin to balance their obsession of murder and each other, they meet Herman, played by Frank Stewart, a cannibal who, upon discovering their bloodlust, attempts to lure them into killing as a means to satisfy his craving for human flesh. Bloody and hilarious, Gorman Bichard's Psychos in Love is an absurd, homegrown horror comedy which alternates between gratuitous killing sprees and self-aware parody of romantic comedies. Vinegar Syndrome presents this lurid classic in a fresh 2K restoration from its 16mm original camera negative.
I'm a psycho killer.
I don't believe it.
What?
Me too.
Get out of here, really?
Really? I'm not kidding.
Okay, that's Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, part 2. Friday the 13th, part 3. Friday the 13th, part 4. And Friday the 13th, part 5. That's Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and Halloween 3. That's Death Wish 1 and Death Wish 2. That's Dawn of the Dead. That's Night of the Living Dead.
Don't forget Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I was just getting to that. Day of the Day of the Dead. That's Psycho 1 and Psycho 2. Wow! That's Deadly Eyes, Deadly Strangers.
What do you do with the bodies after?
That's I Eat Your Skin. That's I Spit on Your Grave. The Debbie Reynolds workout tape. That's The House of Seven Corpses. The house that Jack built. And the house on Sorority Row. I have got to find another job.
Oh, can I have one of these?
Betty. Please, Diane.
Homegrown horror comedy, I think, is the best way to describe this film. These are the type of films that I love. Like, some people can claim that John Cassavetes really motivated this homegrown style of filmmaking back in his time. But, like, to me, I watched this, and, like, this is going to be a dumb comparison because the film I'm referencing came after this, but it feels independent, and it feels like something like Clerks, where it looks like it was just shot with available money, available equipment, didn't have a big budget. They just went out there and had fun making a movie. And like I said, while Clerks came after this, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. It just feels independent and feels like they said homegrown. Psychos in Love is, I don't know, I think it's pretty fantastic. I'll admit, when the first time I put it on, I couldn't focus, so I turned it off. And I was like, oh, this might not be the film I was originally looking to enjoy. And then I waited like a couple days. I was like, you know what? I need to watch the movie anyways. But I'm just gonna put it on again and see if it picks up. And it did. And I'm so glad I put it back on. It starts off with Joe, played by Carmine Capobianco. I might be saying his name wrong. I apologize, Carmine, if you're listening to this, though I don't know why you would be. It almost feels like he's doing a dating tape. It's like black and white. He's addressing the camera. I found out later on through an interview with Gorman Bichard that he was kind of like spoofing some Woody Allen films here, where he's talking about his history with relationships and how he eventually met Kate. And intercut between this is him murdering these girls because that's what he finds fun. In a really funny Psycho spoof where they're redoing the infamous shower scene. And then, it shows him killing girls, and talking about how things weren't working. And then he meets Kate, and it builds it up like he's going to come in and murder her in the bathroom like he did the previous girl, and he doesn't. He doesn't murder Kate. And then it cuts to Kate's close-up, and she talks about meeting Joe, not Carmine, meeting Joe for the first time, and it's about them, which I love, and it's absurd. I'm not going to make this sound like it's some indie drama. This movie is fucking absurd, but in all the right ways. The description mentioned a mutual hatred for grapes. There is an amazing speech that's just called the Grape speech. I'm going to insert a clip of it right here.
And then I found out she liked grapes. I hate grapes. I can't stand grapes. I loathe grapes, all kinds of grapes. I hate purple grapes. I hate green grapes. I hate grapes with seeds. I hate grapes without seeds. I hate them peeled and non-peeled. I hate grapes in bunches, one at a time, or in groups of 2s and 3s. I fucking hate grapes. Grapes. I hate grapes. I can't stand grapes.
Yes, Joe, so do I, but we could have had something else. The poor waiter was French. He didn't know.
Well, he should have. I mean, do I look like the kind of a person that would eat a grape?
No, of course not.
That speech is bonkers. I don't believe that wasn't the first time that grape speech is recited numerous times throughout the film. That's one of the last times it's recited, where Kate, having heard this speech so many times, actually starts getting annoyed and is just letting him do his thing. But that grape speech it gets funnier every time you hear it, and they just have this both have this hatred for grapes. Kate and Joe are so goddamn likable, and they've got so much chemistry. And Debbie Tebow, who plays Kate, she's like a dead-on ringer for Molly Ringwald. She looks just like her, and she's gorgeous. She's funny, and to this day, I don't know, to this day, I just saw it yesterday, but, I watched all the features on this, and while there's a lot of ad-libbing in this film, neither Gorman Bichard or Carmine Copibianco, who wrote the films, they won't admit how much was ad-libbed, how much was scripted. You get the feeling that, they wrote the script, and then just whatever happened on set happened, and they just played with it and went with it. And there's some amazing sequences in that where they just sometimes they make it feel like it's a man bites dog situation where there's camera crew following them. At one point they're arguing, they're trying to drag a body and everything, and a boom mic comes down the frame, and I looked at Amanda, I'm like, did that boom mic just hit the frame? And she gets annoyed and looks at the camera and pushes the boom mic out of frame. Oh my god, they must have just messed up, and maybe they didn't have a lot of money, and that's just the take that they went with. And then they start arguing, and it's the thing that's about these arguments, and maybe it's because they had such great chemistry, they felt like a real couple. There's times these arguments just felt real, and they both looked at the camera and can you get out of here, and they cover it, and then they don't make reference to the camera again later on. It's just shot like a regular movie. And then later on there's a scene where Joe's on the phone, and the scene just goes on, and they're just riffing off each other and joking, and the character of Joe just goes, yeah, I know the scene's over. Cut. And you find out in the features that, Gorman Bichard would just let the camera roll for a while. And when they ran out of things to say, they would just essentially let them know, hey, the scene's over. And they break the fourth wall like this quite a bit throughout the film. There's actually a time where, near the end, no, this happened this happened 3 scenes ago, and then they start arguing about what scene it happened in, and then there's a joke near the end where he says, pardon me while have a strange interlude, and he just steps away from the situation, this tense situation, and addresses the camera directly. And Gorman Bechard said that this film wasn't inspired by like Friday the 13th or Halloween or Psycho or any of that. He said it was more inspired by his love for the Marx Brothers, his love for Woody Allen and Annie Hall, or Buster Keaton and the slapstick comedy. That's what he was inspired by, and you can feel it. And while this film is definitely a spoof of romantic comedy, there's times where like I said, they feel like a real couple, and I appreciate that. Like, it definitely is a spoof of horror and slasher films, and they go a little nuts with it sometimes intentionally. But I have not laughed this hard at a film in a long time, and I need to talk about the theme song. Oh my god, the theme song! Just called "Psychos in Love." Let me play a clip. I'm not even gonna play a clip for you. I'm gonna play the whole damn song for you. Here it is.
I was slowly beginning to lose interest in slashing. I don't know. Now, that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. It's just that I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to. What can I say? I'm in love.
Walked into my life one night. At first I thought you'd be like all the rest. Boring to talk to and boring in bed. In general and all around pest. I was all set to cut you to little bitty bits. Chop you, dice you, slice you, drill with your bits. You turned my life around with your beauty and scent. And all I did was kiss you once and go straight to heaven I went. Said all I did was kiss you once and go straight to heaven I went. 'Cause I'm a psycho in love, I can't help myself. Psycho in love, I'm a psycho in love. Never felt this way about anyone else. I'm a psycho. Psycho in love.
You could just another victim, so when you asked me out, I said sure. My motto has always been an ounce of prevention is worth a manicure. I thought you'd end up being just some other guy. I was just to stick my scissors right into your eye. You proved to me that life can be fun without the blood. I love you even though you're pudgy and you look like Elmer Fudd. I love you even though you're pudgy and you look like Elmer Fudd. 'Cause I'm a psycho in love, I can't help myself. Psycho in love, I'm a psycho in love. Never felt this way about anyone else. I'm a psycho. Psycho in love.
Grapes, we hate 'em grapes. We hate 'em purple and green. Grapes, we hate 'em grapes. We hate 'em with or without. Never thought I could be so content. I'm really kinda glad to know you, Kate.
No, it's all my pleasure, Joe, my dear. I guess if we can call it fate.
Sure, I'll kill my girls, be faithful to you.
And I will slice up many a man.
We love each other so, we're just so doggone happy.
We're sick, we're crazy, we're lunatics, not fit for society.
So we're sick, we're crazy, we're lunatics, not fit for society. 'Cause we are psychos in love, we can't help ourselves. Psychos in love, we are psychos in love. Never felt this way about anyone else, we are psychos. Psychos in love, 'cause we are psychos in love, we can't help ourselves. Psychos in love, we are psychos in love. Never felt this way about anyone else, we are psychos. Psychos in love.
Isn't that great? There's one point in the film where they have a relationship montage, like you often see in romantic comedies, where they are, it's intercut with them doing silly things like washing the car and riding bikes and everything. And you grow to love these characters as this goofy song plays. It's great. Like, this film has such a strong cult following. There was even a live stage play version of it in Madison, Wisconsin, where I'm from. Actually at the theater that horror filmmaker Stuart Gordon founded back when he went to school in Madison. I could talk for a while about this film and recount through everything I love about it, but I feel like that's just going to do everyone a disservice, because I think you need to see this film. And I'm going to put out an open call right now for anyone in the Wisconsin area or anyone who wants to travel to me. If anyone wants to see Psychos in Love and isn't sold based on what I'm telling you right now, I will come over and show the film to you. However, I'm going to make another call. If you're going to take my seal of approval, if you're going to take my word on any Vinegar Syndrome release, like I've given my seal of approval on Psycho Cop Returns, I've given my seal of approval on Christmas Evil, I've given my seal of approval on Dolomite. Anyone who takes a chance on this film and doesn't love it, I will publicly apologize. But I really think everyone should take a chance and buy this film. Should give this film a shot. This film needs to become a huge hit. Because Gorman Bashar should be making more films. He does music documentaries, and he did a slasher film called Disconnected, which I have a copy of, which is not easy to find, which I haven't watched yet, but like that's the next thing I want to watch, because I am just so fascinated by this film and this filmmaker. Psychos in Love, like, honestly has my biggest recommendation. The film, of course, is gorgeous looking, 16mm photography. It's kind of got that cinema verite, avant-garde vibe to it. Cuts from black and white to color sometimes. Found out that Gorman Bashar and the team, they shot in like his father's house and everything, and his father put up a lot of money to help him get this, because, you know, he said this movie wasn't made for much, but most of it went to film. Because this is back in the day where you couldn't just shoot this on your iPhone, you had to shoot it on film. What I like about this is Gorman Bashar at one point apparently said that he never thought this was going to get a real release. I don't know the story of why, but he just thought it was never going to come out. And not only is it out in a really nice special edition from our friends over at Vinegar Syndrome, like I said, they've got a newly restored 2K 16mm scan, which last time I talked to them, their scanning machine was the same one that Peter Jackson used in Lord of the Rings. It's got 2 commentary tracks, one of Gorman Bashar and Carmine Copianco, and then just an extra one with just Gorman. There's a series of interviews of Gorman and Carmine, some together, some not. All really interesting. They kind of talk about like their working relationship, how this came to be, how Carmine's not really an actor, but liked making this. And then there's a making of featurette called Making Psychos, which was shot, looks like on VHS camera at the time they're making this movie. On set, it's a little quiet, but it's a nice little slice to see, like slice of life type thing, to see like what the set was like and what they were doing, and it just looks like they had a great time. There's a 45-minute Q&A from Cinema Wasteland 2016 of Carmine Copianco. A trailer, behind the scenes photo gallery, promotional image, all that fun stuff, rough edits and outtakes and extended scenes, alternate opening credit sequence, highlights from the Psychos in Love stage play. And then this is what's really cool about it too. They have 4 short films by Gorman Bashar. Everything from one of his earliest ones called The Only Take, which is the first time him and Carmine worked together. A movie called short called Pairs, which is just a bunch of boobs. One called Bartholomew, which is a really interesting little short about murder. And then Objects in the Mirror Further Than They Appear, which is one that he made in the 2000s on video, looks like, about a female prostitute. There's also a book of essays and so on and so forth. This is stacked, and I think it's fantastic. This is one that I'm probably going to display, and I'm going to show to as many people as I possibly can. So, yeah, Evils of the Night and Psychos in Love, both fantastic. Psychos in Love is fantastic. Evils of the Night is fun, not great. I've got some more Vinegar Syndrome titles I want to eventually review. I've got one called Hellbent and one called Sugar Cookies, which is like one of Lloyd Kaufman's very early films that I still want to talk about. I don't know what's next with us in Vinegar Syndrome, but they've been really cool about helping us out, sending us some movies, and just being a sponsor and a friend of the Shameless Picture Show podcast. And I appreciate everyone out there who's listened to the show, and I especially appreciate anyone who has even just logged on to the Vinegar Syndrome website based on the things I've said about them. So, thanks for listening, guys. If anyone out there is a Vinegar Syndrome fan besides me, has some releases they like, chat me up on Facebook. Go to our Shameless Picture Show podcast page, post some stuff. It's the loneliest page on Facebook right now because no one besides me and Nick posts anything. Or just, if you really don't want to do that, I'm on Instagram, Michael_Viers. I'm on Twitter, which I don't check. I check it maybe once a day to see if anyone's messaged me. Michael_Viers. I'm on Facebook at Michael Viers. I'm around. I love talking movies. I love talking professional wrestling. If you've got a cute dog, send me pictures. I'll send you pictures of my dog Frankenstein. Just let me know that you're listening to the show, that you like it, and we'll keep on going, man. Like, thus far, our Planet of the Apes Toby Hooper episode was our longest, most stacked episode yet. And some of you guys really fucking came through for us, and sending us voice clips about your thoughts about Planet of the Apes or your thoughts about Toby Hooper, and that was awesome. And we love doing things like that. We want to hear from you. We don't want this to just be Nick and I talking. Like, don't get me wrong, we love that, but we love interacting with our friends. I don't like saying fans. Like, if you are a fan, that's cool, and I appreciate that, but you guys are all my friend. Anyone who's taken the chance to go on to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or SoundCloud, and has hit the play button, and has listened more than 30 seconds, and has liked what we've been talking about, even if you don't agree it necessarily, you guys are my friend. So thank you very much. Yeah, that's it for this week. I'm Michael Viers, signing out. Me and Nick will be back on the next episode, so 2 weeks from now, since we're bi-weekly, talking Dark City. Well, actually, I might not be back. I'm not quitting the show. Going to Florida for about the first week and a half of October, so Nick might be flying solo unless we can get the episode recorded prior and just in the can. If we're not back next week with Dark City, Nick will be doing something cool, and then after that we should be back with Dark City. Also, sometime in this short future, I want to have me and Nico Aldrich sit down and talk about horror. Specifically, he wants to talk about his love for James Whale and Wes Craven. So we got some cool stuff coming up, guys. And plus, our 1 year anniversary is coming up. We've been doing this podcast for a fucking year, and it's been awesome. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.